Hi everyone, I'm Steven Schleicher, and in this video I'm going to review the new AG-UX90 camera from Panasonic. The Panasonic AG-UX90 is actually an ultra-high definition camera shooting at 3,840 pixels by 2,160 pixels at either 23.98 or 29.97 frames per second in 4K mode. The camera captures images on a 1-inch CMOS sensor, which ends up giving the users a better depth of field than other cameras that you're going to find in this price range. This isn't a full-frame sensor, which is okay because this camera is not designed to convert digital SLR photographers or people hoping to shoot their next feature film. But it is a great camera for run-and-gun situations and for people who are working in documentary films. The AG-UX90 features a Leica lens, and as we all know, a Leica lens is a great lens. At its widest, users have a 24mm lens when shooting in high definition, but only 35mm when shooting in UHD. I'll be honest, the loss in my field of view when shooting in UHD mode was a bit disappointing, and that's only because all of the projects that I'm shooting right now are in 4K for future-proofing future projects, as well as making videos available to YouTube, which is now encouraging people to shoot and upload in 4K. Still though, this camera gives you a very wide field of view, and it can zoom in with its 15 times lens super close, so I doubt you're going to miss that much when you're shooting in 4K. The worst part about shooting in 4K is getting a critical focus, but Panasonic has you covered with a nearly flawless autofocus feature that is able to lock into all of my subjects with ease. If you need more flexibility, you can switch to manual mode, of course, and focus on the subject yourself using the enhanced focus feature. Combine this with a touch screen and you can inspect the focus of your subject no matter where they are in the frame. If you are a ENG person or a documentarian who's doing a lot of stuff on your own and you have to shoot your own stand-ups in the field, Panasonic does not have any kind of facial recognition in its autofocus. So if you're doing your own stand-ups, getting a critical focus on yourself may be difficult, as something in the background may cause the focus to shift. The manual does mention that there is a way to connect this camera with your iPad so that you can control it using the Panasonic AG app on your iPhone or iPad, but you're going to need some USB Wi-Fi adapters to connect this camera to your wireless network or directly to your mobile device. Quite frankly, I didn't have one of those for testing, and the manual is a little light on how to actually do that, and the menu structure is a little bit confusing. So while you have that ability, I think it's going to be more frustrating for you to set it up and keep it working than maybe just hoping that you're getting a sharp focus when you're out in the field. As with other cameras of its kind, the Panasonic UX90 has focus, zoom, it also has an iris ring, as well as gain, neutral density filters, and an easy-to-access white balance button. I really miss having these features on cameras that I use now, so getting to use this camera felt like going home and getting back into old video work that I used to do. So I really enjoyed using the camera for those easy-to-reach, hands-on features that you expect to find in a camera. In fact, the nice thing about shooting with this camera and having all of these features in places that are familiar to you is within 10 minutes of taking the camera out of the box, powering it up, and finding where these settings and things were, I was able to shoot a video that went up online in that very same day. That is really nice when you can take a camera out of the box, start using it immediately without having to spend an hour or more trying to familiarize yourself with that camera. This camera also has image stabilization for when you absolutely can't be on a tripod. You know, I like this feature a lot, but if you're going to be using the built-in microphone with this camera, image stabilization does make a lot of noise. In fact, even the zoom and focus rings make more noise than I was used to. And even though my ear is further away from the camera than the built-in microphone, I could still hear it. My guess is your built-in microphone is going to hear that noise as well. So you do want to be careful. Speaking of audio, there are two professional XLR inputs on this camera, but they're not grouped together like you might find on other cameras. And at first, when I looked at this, I thought, that's a little odd, until you realize that one input is up near the lens of the camera so that you can run a short cable to your shotgun mic or other mic that you might mount onto the cold shoe adapter of this camera. The other one is located in the back of the camera so that you can attach a wireless microphone and again, have a short run for that. The nice thing about this feature is that you don't have to have cables getting tangled up all over your camera when you're out in a field production or other shoot. That's a really nice touch. I wish more cameras would take on this feature set, because that was something that at first you're scratching your head, but then you're like, ah, this is brilliant. Good job, Panasonic. One drawback, though, is I thought the audio controls were a little bit sensitive because all I'd have to do is barely touch the dials to control the volume of my microphone, and suddenly it would jump to being really, really loud or really, really quiet. Could just be my microphones, though. I'd have to do some more testing with that. Another disadvantage is there's no real metering of your audio. Sure, there's a little LCD meter function on the LCD screen. It doesn't tell you what that level is, though. Are you at -20? Are you at -3 dB? Or are you pegging into the red? Now, it does peg into the red if you get that loud, but how loud is that? Is that a warning, or is that actual clipping occurring? It would be nice to have some kind of little metering to tell you where those numbers are hitting at in the viewfinder. Speaking of viewfinders, there are two on this camera, one in the back, an EVF, which is great. It's great for shooting outdoors. The other one is an LCD touchscreen, which slides out of a little protective slot, and then you can rotate it around so that you can see what you're doing. Drawback is, I mean, it can flip around so that you can see what's going on, but you can't turn it sideways or mount it up to the side of the camera for working in unobstructed run and gun kind of views where this might snap off. So you do need to be aware of that. The other thing is, while I love LCD screens, and this is very big, I think 3.5 inches is the size of this, it sucks when you're going outside to shoot in the daylight or even a cloudy day. You might as well forget it if you're trying to use the LCD screen outside. If you're someone who likes a variety of picture profiles to adjust the look and feel of your images as it's being recorded, there are 5 picture profiles included with this camera. While this is nice and allows you to get a very distinct look, unless you know what spark profile looks like, you're going to be out of luck as there's really no information in the printed or electronic manuals for this camera. I finally found some information in a sales brochure on the Panasonic website, and it does look like you have a Cine V or a Cine D profiles that are included that do give you a fairly flat look for color correction and color grading later on. Video is recorded on SDXC cards, which is nice because you can get these relatively inexpensive. And there are 2 slots on this camera for recording your video so that you can have a backup, so you can record the video onto both cards simultaneously. You can have it done in a relay mode so that as soon as one card is full, it flips over to another, or you can select to just record on one card or another while you're out in the field. If you're planning on shooting in ultra high definition, this camera can do it in either the MPEG-4 or QuickTime formats. The camera will shoot in AVCHD in the HD format as well as MPEG-4 and the QuickTime format, but I don't know why you can't shoot in the AVCHD format when you're shooting in 4K resolution. I have other cameras that will shoot in AVCHD at that resolution, so it's a little odd why this camera will not do that and only allows you to do it in MPEG-4 or QuickTime format. It's a little strange right there. I mentioned earlier that the Panasonic AG-UX90 has a lot of easy-to-access controls that are essential when shooting in a run-and-gun environment. There are also a number of useful features that you don't need a dedicated button for, but like other cameras, the AG-UX90 has 9 user-definable buttons scattered across the camera so that you can easily assign those features that you need to access the most. I mentioned earlier that taking this camera out of the box and being able to shoot and record something within 10 minutes was really nice, but after a while of shooting with this camera, I found that there was one feature that I wanted to add to a user-defined button, and I was able to do that with ease thanks to the menu feature of the Panasonic AG-UX90. Originally, I wanted to test the Panasonic AG-UX90 as a potential camera for vloggers and people doing online videos. This camera is a little bit too big to be an easy vlogging camera for those people who want to stream video or have a very portable camera for when they're out and about doing those man-on-the-street, stand-up vlog video type situations. I did use this for streaming a live show that I do every Friday, and it was a little bit too bulky to fit right next to my monitor and get the shot that I needed, but it was able to create a beautiful image for that live stream. So if you're a small production house or if you are a YouTuber or someone who does online streaming and you're looking for a small format or small footprint camera that has a great video resolution and can connect easily to your camera via the HDMI outputs on this camera, then this is a great camera for that. If you're also just someone who's creating YouTube videos like this one that isn't a vlog, then I think that this camera is great as well because it has the ability to have a wide focal range. You can do some macro focusing, which is super, super nice. And it's got some pro features that I think many users will like that are easily accessible from the front or the side of the camera, or I should say the outside of this camera, whereas there are some smaller footprint cameras that I have that I use for videos like this one, where I have to go into a bunch of menus or touch on the touch screen a lot just to find a feature that I use quite a bit. So if you're doing regular videos, if you're a small production house, if you're a news organization that is looking to get a smaller camera at a 4K or Ultra HD resolution, then the Panasonic AG-UX90 is fantastic for that. It's relatively inexpensive. It's coming in at just under $4,000. I think this is a nice camera, and it's worth checking out and considering if you're looking to make a purchase in the near future. I'm doing a lot of multi-camera shoots right now, and I would love to have 3 or 4 of these in the headquarters here, and I think I might in the near future once I have some funding for it, because this camera is just so easy to use and so intuitive if you're coming from an environment where you used to shoot with much bigger pro cameras. Don't get me wrong, this is a nice professional camera, but it's not going to have some of the other higher end features like variable frame rate and infrared photography and other things that you're going to find on other camera units. So there you go. That's a look at the Panasonic AG-UX90. It's brand new from Panasonic. It's worth checking out. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, just use the comment section below. And until next time, take care.